We'll start off with Michael Grady from Yes Network.
Hey, Joe, in your mind, what was the difference in that fourth quarter?
I mean, there's a number. I thought we started off, the momentum shifted a little bit because we played well in the third. I think, getting a little careless with the ball, maybe taking some tough shots, but then just defensively too, not being able to kind of get stops when we needed to. But they did hit some tough buckets, and the momentum shifted just a little bit.
It's tough, tough competition you guys have, leading up into the postseason, especially during this particular stretch. What are you guys learning? What are you hoping to get out of this late push before the postseason?
Well, I think honestly, even though, it's tough right now, it's good for us to experience some adversity. We're a group that has, we've got guys in and out, all season long, different lineups. We're finally starting to get closer to having a lineup at full strength, but this is really the first time with a lot of guys playing together and shortening down the rotation a little bit as well. So it's obviously a difficult time right now, but it's certainly better to go through this now versus in a playoff stretch.
Alex Schiffer with The Athletic.
Hey, Joe, do you see any common thread between these four losses, or they all have their different problems and causes?
Yeah, there's not, one or two things that you just pinpointed on and say that we did these wrong, the last four games. I think one, we're obviously playing against some high-level teams, and I think, it's a lot of little stuff that we got to clean up, but it sort of has varied by the game, whether it's, getting back in transition, not allowing second chance opportunities, being able to individually kind of stay in front of your guy, guard your yard. So it's sort of varied over the last four games, but, it hinges on a lot of different particular things.
Christian Winfield with New York Daily News.
Hey, Joe, it's not every day that we see Kevin have a cold shooting night. So I'm wondering, as the game's going on and it's getting to the fourth quarter, are you kind of seeing him shoot some of these shots and expecting them to drop and then they're not falling? And what do you say to a guy like Kevin who doesn't really have off shooting nights when he has one?
Obviously just keep getting him the ball, getting him in positions where maybe he can get an easier look. I don't think anybody thought twice about him having an off-shooting night. I didn't even really realize it until you look at the stat sheet at the end of the game.
Brian Lewis with the New York Post.
Hey, Joe. I recognize that a 10-0 run counts the same whether it's the first quarter or the third quarter, but how mildly concerning is it that you have a common thread of these runs coming against you guys in the fourth quarter? I mean, the 18-1 the other night in Milwaukee, and now whatever it was, 13-2. How concerning is that?
It's definitely concerning. I think, the fourth quarter is obviously when you're hoping to be at your sharpest. You definitely don't want to put yourself in the position where you have to be, but you hope that it's, collective over the course of the game where you can play a full 48. But certainly the fourth quarter is where, you really got to be able to lock in, focus, and execute.
Malika Andrews with ESPN.
Hey, Joe, Steve kind of shared a similar sentiment about looking at this stretch as a positive in terms of getting some adversity underneath your belt. But how do you walk that line between having it be a good thing to playoff test you and having a losing streak steamroll into what is right now the longest of your season?
Well, if anything, it gives us, probably more of a sense of urgency to go out and get a win. So, our next game against Denver, I know guys are pissed off. And I think the level of focus, we know the playoffs are right around the corner, so level of focus is definitely amplified a bit. But I think just now, given our circumstance where, we have lost four in a row, there is definitely a sense of urgency there to go out and get a win. But, I don't think anybody's necessarily looking at it as big of a negative or trying to create that sort of narrative around it. You got to do exactly what Steve said. You have to look at this as sort of a positive opportunity where, all right, this is good for us to experience some sort of adversity, especially here late in the year. And, hopefully we can, use it to our advantage and finish out the season the right way.
Thank you.
Bruce Beck with NBC New York.
So, Joe, are you worried at all right now about your ball club?
No, I wouldn't say I'm worried, and I don't think anybody in the locker room is necessarily worried. This is just a tough stretch of games. Obviously, we haven't lost 4 in a row at all this season, but this is what happens over the course of the season. It could have happened, earlier in January, February, and it'd probably be a lot of the same questions. You'd probably be feeling a similar sort of way. But we still have 5 games left now to right the ship, get ourselves playing better basketball, and hopefully carry a little bit more momentum in a positive way going into the postseason.
Last question, Matt Brooks with Nets Daily.
Hey, Joe, do you think the timing for, this is kind of a weird philosophical question, but do you think the timing for a losing streak matters? Like, are you, I know you're not worried right now, but are you, not wanting to necessarily carry this losing streak at a time that coincides too much with the playoffs, or are you guys just not worried at all whatsoever about it?
I mean, regardless of the timing in the schedule, you never want to lose any 4 games in a row. I think we're just trying to make, you're trying to have as positive an outlook on what's happening as possible. And that's the best way to do it. I mean, we could literally bitch and complain to each other about a whole bunch of different stuff, but there's no good that comes out of it. I think, for us, it's really just hopefully going to tighten up the group, bring us a little bit closer together, because when you go through difficult times, I think that's when, you really, it creates sort of this bond that, you wouldn't otherwise maybe have. So, for us to have this now, yeah, it's tough and it sucks, but at the same time, we still have 5 games to get ourselves right. And I think, to a man in the locker room, there is definitely a sense of urgency to go out and get ourselves right against Denver.
Thanks so much, Joe. We appreciate it.
Thank you.